All right, so I have shaded in my iris. So layered lots of color together, and I have some dark values and some light values. So next, since we are making a spooky eyeball, I'm going to be drawing some red lines in the whites of the eyes. These are kind of looking veiny, giving it that kind of scary look. So, with my red color pencil. Now, if you want to start out with a regular pencil and kind of outline things, so it's a little easier to erase, not a bad idea. So I'm going to be making kind of a little bit of a wavy line. Then on that, then I'm going to branch out and make little small lines. So they can be a little crooked. Then I'm going to, right on top of there, color it with a red color pencil. So we want this to kind of look like a vein going all throughout the eye. And we're going to do this all around our eyeball. So I actually would start off with and you can make them a little bit squiggly, or you can do almost like a zigzag. I'm going to rotate my eye. I'm going to try to do some big and some small ones. I'm going to kind of plot out my little veins. So I do a wiggly line, then it's going to branch out into some smaller lines. I definitely think it's easier to start out with a pencil because you may not like your first attempt and you can always go back and erase it. Okay, so now I'm just going to I'm kind of spreading this out so then the eye has a bunch of little veins coming out. If you want to make them all very similar looking, you can. Okay, so I think that's a good number. I'll probably go back and add more as I go. So once I have all of my little veins kind of mapped out, I'm going to be outlining them with my red color pencil. So I'm kind of going quickly because I already put my pencil line down. So you're going to want to press not too hard, but hard enough where the red will actually show up. As you're going, if you want to add, even kind of branch off the lines a little bit more, go ahead. This is actually kind of relaxing. Just making some wiggly lines. I'll come back in a minute and have all my veins on my eyeball done. Alright, so now that all my veins are outlined, we're going for a very bloodshot look. So I'm actually going to take my color pencil and shade the outside of the eyeball with my red color pencil. So instead of outlining this we're going to start off shading it with a red color pencil all around. So just kind of lightly coloring it out and in. And you can get a little bit messy with this. Then we're going to go in with our black color pencil and then do an outline, very thin outline of our eyeball. Now to make this look even more bloodshot, if you want, you can lightly kind of shade a little bit of red. Bring that red in just a little bit more. But keep in mind, very, very lightly shade that red. Kind of bring it into the eyeball just a little bit, just to make your eyes look really bloodshot. So I'm just kind of going back and forth, very lightly shading everything in. so I'm not going too far. But the outer edge of the eyeball is looking a little bit more red. And you can keep doing this, keep adding. The more color pencil you add, the more kind of creepy the eye is going to look. If you see any pencil lines, like I kind of realized I didn't erase my pencil lines, you can always go back and erase some pencil lines. So now for the final step, we're going to be coloring in our pupil, and we're going to be coloring it in black. So I'm just shading it, and I'm pressing a little bit darker this time because I really want the iris to be very, very black. So in order to avoid a hand cramp, you're probably going to want to build up the black color kind of like we did with our iris, but I'm just doing this kind of quickly. And I'm going to trace around. We're going to leave some white space because we want it to look like our eyes being reflected off of something. I'm sorry, I want it to look like there's a reflection. All right, so that looks pretty good. Then, now this step is optional. You can outline your eyeball with a Sharpie. So, if you want to keep it just color pencil, go for it. But I think that the outlining it with a Sharpie kind of gives it a final spooky touch and makes it really, really stand out. It really contrasts with the color pencil nicely. All right, so now I'm going to also outline with Sharpie my pupil. And if you want to go back and add a layer of Sharpie over, go for it. I'm going to use the Sharpie to kind of clean up some of this little reflection. I'm going to round it out so it's not such a perfect rectangle. And then I'm also going to very carefully outline around my iris. Now the one thing we're not going to outline is our little veins in our eyes. I think we're going to leave that just plain red. But I think that the Sharpie gives the eyeballs a real pop. So I'm going over the Sharpie just a second time because some of it wasn't as black as I wanted. Okay. Alrighty. And so once you have your eye all cut out like this, one option is you can actually go back in and add more detail. So if you feel like adding in some more little veins, go for it. You can make a little bit more, make them a little bit darker, add more shading to the outer part of the eyeball if you feel like it. And you can add even more color to your eye. So there you have it. That is how to draw and color in a spooky eye. Hope you liked it and can't wait to see how they turn out.